This is a tutorial for the power slide. The power slide is probably one of the easiest, if not the easiest slide to learn as an inline skater, probably because it involves supporting yourself on one foot whilst sliding with the other. It involves a transition and then a slide. I was always quite impressed when I saw someone power slide. I always felt it looked kind of like when Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat does that slidey thing along the ground, which again I always thought was a cool move. That's kind of like the power slide. There are two ways that I do the power slide. One way is with a step into the slide, and another way is where I turn or a spin into the slide. Kind of like a power stop. If you haven't seen my power stop tutorial, you can check it out here. So the way that I learned this first, and probably the easiest way in my own opinion to learn this, is by stepping into the slide. So it involves transitioning from forwards to backwards, and I do this by way of a step and then initiating the slide from that. The beauty of this method is you don't need to be going quick, and actually you don't need to do any sliding in order to get down the movement pattern. You can start off learning this with your shoes on, you can take it onto grass to get the movement down, and finally you can take it onto the ground somewhere. You don't need a lot of space, but I would recommend that you find a flat piece of level ground to train on. And then all you have to do, once you get the movement pattern down, is apply a little bit of speed, and it's not that difficult to initiate a little slide. And once you start doing that, it's just a case of building up your speed and building up your confidence. So the first method, when I step into the slide, involves a mohawk transition. Now the mohawk transition is where you've got both skates facing in opposite directions and your heels are together. Now don't let this scare you, because you're only in this transition for a split second before you initiate the slide. So at this point my right skate is facing forward, my left skate is at 90 degrees, and I'm pushing off of my left skate. All of the weight shifts to my right skate. My left skate then lifts up and it rotates, and my heels are together for a split second. I'm then shifting the weight from my right fully onto my left skate, and I'm pushing my right skate out at a 90-degree angle to initiate the slide. So at this point, obviously we're not sliding, we're just stepping, so at this point it's just a stop. But in a nutshell, that little pattern will give you a power slide, and all you need to do is apply some more speed, and believe me, you don't need a lot, and apply a low enough angle on that sliding skate, which is a real pertinent point. The lower that sliding skate is to the ground, the easier this will be. So from there, I would just focus on getting that pattern down, and then you can start to apply a little bit of speed, which I'll demonstrate. So here we're starting from a roll, and it helps to scissor your skates, and the support skate should be the furthest skate back. So if my sliding skate is going to be my right skate, when I go into the little scissor, my left skate will be furthest back. And to initiate the slide, I push the weight from my left one fully onto my right. I make the transition by turning my left skate all the way round. I'll then shift the weight back onto my left skate, push my right skate out at 90 degrees, lean forward on my left skate, create that angle with the sliding skate, and then just slide to a stop. Now I said that you push the sliding foot out, it's more of a step. You step it out and place it down. And if you place it down at a low enough angle, it'll slide automatically. It makes the movement easier, you're not having to push yourself onto a sliding edge. Make the transition, step that sliding skate out, place it down at a low enough angle, and push through the heel. So as you can see, it's just a little slide at the moment, but you can also see that we're not going very fast. If you were to increase the speed there, then the length of slide will increase also. But again, getting that little bit of slide allows you to build confidence in a controlled way and not having to apply too much speed. There's nothing really overly complicated, but I can't emphasize that little transition. Get it down in your head so that it's like second nature, and this will be infinitely easier for you to learn. So a couple of things just to note: the angle of that sliding skate is really important. If you have a low angle, low to the ground, sliding will be quite effortless. I always think about trying to slide the sides of my wheels, or think about trying to slide my frames against the ground. It's unlikely that I'll ever really get there, but it always reminds me of how low I'm trying to get. Just be careful of the transition. This is an area that you can trip yourself up. Make sure you're really comfortable with that front to back transition before you practice this on flat ground. Practicing on grass can really help. I would recommend trying that first. As you get better at this, you'll find that transition becomes a jump. It's just a small jump, but I would recommend you're in a good place before you try that. Another tip that often helps me is, once I've made the transition, it normally helps if I push out with more of the heel of that sliding skate, and my support skate I tend to favour a slight outside edge and keep these skates at 90 degrees to one another. For the second method, which is initiated from a parallel turn or a spin. Now this is a very cool method. It involves a spin into a slide. It's not that difficult, but there's definitely more to think about, in my own opinion, using this method, which is why I recommend getting confident and certainly starting to learn the power slide with the first method. First step in learning this would be to learn parallel turns. It would be helpful to look at the tutorial that I did last year for the power stop, because many of these steps are repeated in there. However, the first step to a parallel turn would be, if I'm going to the left, I'm in the scissor stance, my left foot is ahead of my right foot, my left foot leans over to the left, I'm on the outside edge of my left skate, I'm on the inside edge of my right skate, and you just turn by leaning gradually over to the left hand side. The next step would be to gradually make these parallel turns tighter so that they become more like hairpin turns. So hopefully you're making progress with this. If you are, you'll already start to feel a little bit of a slide when you do this, and it's kind of just like a lazy power stop. But what needs to happen here is that left skate, the first skate to turn, needs to pivot 180 degrees so that when you finish this, you're making a full transition. So you're going forward, you go to initiate the slide, that first skate pivots 180 degrees, so it's now facing the opposite way from which you came, and that right hand skate comes out at an arc onto the inside edge, where virtually almost instantly after initiating the turn, you start to force out the heel of that right hand skate. So the combination of the 180 degree pivot of the left hand skate, the wide sweeping arc of the right hand skate that's following it round, and the force you're now pushing through the heel of your right hand skate into a slide should have you moving in the same direction, but you're now facing backwards and you're sliding out with your right hand skate. So that pivot of the left hand skate wants to be done as quickly as possible, and whilst you're pushing through the heel of the right hand skate, you want to get a low enough angle on that sliding skate. A lot of this happens while you're doing it, and it will happen quite naturally, but there's definitely more, in my own opinion, having done both methods now, there's more to think about using this method, which is why I recommend getting confident and certainly starting to learn the power slide with the first method. And the same things apply that make this easier to learn. Get the angle low on the sliding skate. You know, that involves getting deeper on your support skate. For me, it helps if I'm on the outside edge a little bit of my support skate. Push through the heel of your sliding skate as soon as you can, with this one in particular, because it'll help you to get more distance with the sliding portion if you can put the pressure on that sliding skate quicker. And the pivot, if you can get that left hand skate pivoting in a 180 really quickly, certainly if you can pivot on the toe of that first skate, that whole transition becomes a lot quicker. All of these elements will make this a little bit easier. But these are things that you can drill down on once you get the pattern down and once you start to get confident with the movement itself. If you're a little bit twitchy about initiating the slide, a little tip that might help is to initiate it in the form of a drag stop, a very, very light drag stop before you make the initial turn. This almost initiates the slide with that skate before you make the turn, because you're already leaning to the inside edge of that skate. So drag, pivot and push. So I hope this has helped. I hope I've explained it in a way that you understand. If you don't and you want to ask something, then stick it in the comments and I'll get back to you. If you liked this and you want to hit the thumbs up, that would be magic. And if you want to see more, subscribe to the channel and you'll see a lot more. Other than that, skate safe, take it easy out there, and I'll catch you on the next roll.